Hey everybody, it's Brad Bordessa from Ukulele.com, and I'm going to be starting a new series focusing mostly on beginning ukulele players. So I'm going to try and take you through tuning and learning basic chords and a couple of simple songs and strums, things like that, to get you started playing. So in this first lesson I'm going to focus on tuning and kind of the parts of the ukulele. So I'll start with the parts of the ukulele just because that's probably the first step. So this is an ukulele. What is it? It's a stringed instrument, and the strings pull across 2 points. Up here on the top by the head of the ukulele is the nut. This is the first starting point for the string. And down here on the body, which is the big fat part, is the saddle. That's the second white part. And that is the second point of where the strings cross. And between those 2 points, the strings are suspended at tension, and that is the ringing length. So when you're learning different things, you're going to be moving the length of the string and shortening it, making it higher or lower, however you can go. But you cannot go any lower than the string is already tuned. So if that's A, you can't go any lower than A. But you can move it up as high as you have frets. So it's just like when you're playing with a rubber band, and if you're stretching a rubber band really tight and you can kind of play it like a bass and move the pitch around, that's the same idea. That's what you're doing by moving your fingers around on the strings. So we have the body and the bridge, and then in the bridge there is the piece of bone or plastic that actually the strings sit on. That's called the saddle. You have the strings, you have the fretboard, which is this whole piece that runs on the neck and down to the body. On the fretboard are the frets. Those are the little metal pieces that divide the different finger positions. They are what move as kind of secondary nuts. So when you place your finger down, this fret right here automatically becomes the nut because you're pressing the string so it rolls across the fret instead of the nut back here. And then you have the neck, which is this whole piece, kind of the wood behind, and up here is the headstock and the nut, and then the tuning pegs, which is where we go next. So to adjust the tension of the different strings, you're going to be turning these higher or lower. Okay? The ukulele is tuned from top to bottom, G, C, E, A. That's where the My Dog Has Fleas comes in. I don't know why, but it's there. So G, C, E, A. Okay? So one of probably the best way to learn to tune right off the get-go is relative, because you can do this whether or not you have a tuner, an electronic tuner, as long as you're not playing with other people. As soon as you start to play with other people and you're tuning relative, your My Dog Has Fleas might be lower or higher than the next guy's My Dog Has Fleas, so you'll be out of tune when you try and play with each other. But if you're playing by yourself, you will be in tune. Okay, so let's start on the bottom. You're going to be tuning everything kind of to this bottom A string. Okay, so the next string up from A on the bottom, the strings are counted backwards, by the way. So the bottom is 1, 2, 3, 4 up to the top string. So A is 1, E is 2, C is 3, and G is 4. Okay, so tuning everything to the bottom string, you're going to go up to the E string, the second string up, and then you're going to place one of your fingers, it doesn't matter which one in this case, on the 5th fret. So you count the frets. The frets are actually the metal pieces, but when I say a fret, I'm talking about the spaces. So you're going to be going up to the 5th space on the E string, and that's an A, and you're going to be tuning that to the bottom string. So you want those two pitches to match. So right now, I'm in tune, but I'll put it a little bit out of tune so you can kind of hear how the process works. So, 5th fret. So the E string is now kind of flat. So I'm going to take the E string, still a little flat. That's pretty close. There's kind of a beating that happens that you can hear. It's kind of like whoa, 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 whoa. tempo, and as you get closer to the correct pitch, it starts to go away or it gets a lot slower. So that's right about right on, okay? And the tuning pegs, some people get confused where you're at on the tuning pegs, but the one on top closest to you is for the G string. The next one away on the top is for the C string. The one away from you on the bottom is for the E string, and the one closest to you on the bottom is for the A string. Okay, so now the E string's in tune from the 5th fret, right? We're comparing the E string 5th fret to the open A string. Okay, and then the next one you're gonna start on the C string, and on the C string the 4th fret equals the E string. So now we're moving up to the next pair of strings, so the 3rd string and the 2nd string. So on the 3rd string, the C string on the 4th fret is that E note. So you compare the 4th fret to the open E string. Okay? Then you move up to the next pair of strings if you have a low G. So I'm going to show you for a low G right now, but then I'll talk about high G in a sec. So for low G, you go back on the 5th fret on the low G and compare that to the open C. To tune an ukulele with a high G, what you're going to do is on the G string, hold the 2nd fret, and then from there you tune to the bottom A string. So altogether it's going to be the bottom pair, 5th fret to open string, and then the middle pair, 4th fret to open string, and then the outside pair is going to be 2nd fret and open string. The other way to tune is with an electronic tuner. This can either be a clip-on type where it goes on the headstock, or just set down type and you turn it on, it's got a built-in mic. Either way, you pick a note and it displays the name of the note. Okay, this doesn't mean it's the right note, so you gotta pick the note and know which string you're tuning to. So if you're tuning the G string, your tuner needs to say G. And then what it's going to do is it's going to have a couple little lines on the side. And if they're on the left side of the middle, usually there's a little bar that kind of goes back and forth. If they're on what would be the left side of the middle, that means the note's flat and you need to tune it up a bit. And if it's on the right side, then you need to come down. And if it's in the middle, you're right in tune. So make sure you're on the right note first. So if you're tuning C, you want it to be C, not B or something like that. So make sure you're tuning to the right note, and then from there you can narrow it down to get your little dial bar right in the middle. So that's part 1 of the beginning ukulele series. See you in part 2. We're gonna go over the song Surf and some simple chords and how to read chord boxes. Oh, yeah.